Hey everybody, and welcome to Fishery. I have a little surprise behind me. Just popped in the mic too. What's going on, Robert Bennett and Big Steve and Linda Worth? What's up? Good to see y'all. Welcome. Scoot in, grab yourselves a beverage, and let's make ourselves comfy. So I have some signage I got for my birthday. You can't really tell, unfortunately, but one is a blue neon tetra, and it's got the green stripe, and then the rest of it is blue. And then one is a little fish bag with the fishery symbol or fishery font in it. So I guess you could say my next door neighbor gave me an early birthday present and basically said, "Hey, you know what? I found this crazy deal on Temu, and I bought you these." And I'm like, I won't deal with Temu personally. Like, I'm scared of it. But he got those, and he said they were a good deal. He said they were like 25 bucks or something. So he waited a month, but what a thoughtful gift. I want to thank my neighbor Sushi. That's what we call him. His real name is Sushiel. But he gave me these thoughtful gifts and another sign with the play button on it too. So that was really nice of him. And am I scared of TikTok too? No, I don't care about TikTok. I have videos on TikTok, a few shorts, like I don't know, 20 maybe. And I don't care. I TikTok can burn. YouTube, all my chips are in YouTube/Discord now. Um, I really need to back up the videos somewhere because the last 2 years I don't have a backup archive of the videos. It's just it takes so long to download and do that, and the space needed to save it at resolution. I just haven't done that yet, but I should, because if the channel ever gets booted, I don't know how that works exactly, but I'm just thinking of that now, panicking. And that little meme with the dog sitting at the desk and everything's on fire and he's just like typing and smiling at his desk. Yeah, well, that's kind of me right now as I'm thinking about that. My birthday is on Sunday, the 19th, but I do appreciate the well wishes. But I was um, more just wanted to point these out, and I'm not gonna they're not staying where they are. They're just up for fun right now. But yeah. All right, guys, how are we doing? Today is a special episode in that, well, I guess I should change the background, even though we've got these cool signs. Let me get on that. So, all right, they changed where things are in this whole dealio. Now where do I go for? Okay, here I think, is it right here? I think this is it. No, that's not that. I just got rid of chat. That's all I did. Boy, I'm embarrassed right now. The fact that I don't know where settings are anymore. Okay, here we go. Got it. All right, so they changed some things, but it's probably fitting to put this background, right? So we're gonna stick with this background. We'll put a more human tone on my face here too, because that was really washed out in order for you guys to see the light behind me. All right, there we go. So I think that's more fitting. So what we're gonna be talking about today are the world conflicts that impact the hobby, more or less. And you may think in your head, if you have never seen this channel before, Alex, what are you talking about? The hobby is not impacted by war zones and things like that. But it definitely is a major thing that impacts our hobby. I might need to turn those lights off too. Sorry, guys. I'm just so unprepared. I wanted to show off my lights and all that. And now I've done and ruined it. Hold on. Let me bring the lights closer. Then we'll crack the Dr. Pepper and we'll jump into all of this. So also, I'll start saying hi to everyone in just a moment, because it looks like we got a lot of good people in here from Amy Lou to Louisy Live Bearers. I like that. Dino Sauce, Cave of Wonders, what's up? Bambi, McCluskey, hey. Anna Taymond, D-Rock, what's up? Am I coming to Pomona for Aquashella? You know, I haven't heard anything about Aquashella. I can't fly right this moment. I might be able to in about 2 months because of blood clots and my leg, and I have to go due to the wound. It's a 1-inch puncture wound now in my leg is what happened. Like the surgery wound was never cleaned quite effectively. I'm hoping maybe if it keeps going as bad as it has been, they might actually just say that the surgery's covered at some point because it's really bad. But yeah, I'm having to go to a wound clinic twice a week right now. So I can't fly or visit anyone yet, but I do have dates lined up to come out to speak to clubs in 2025, including Milwaukee and St. Louis, and definitely the Tampa Bay area. So yeah, that's there. CC's Aquascapes, Christy, hello. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Real Life D&D, Nancy B in Tennessee. Judy Down Smith, or Dawn Smith. What's going on? Judy Down. At first I read that as Judy Down South. And then you said hello from Canada. And then we've got Doompy, hello. Stephen P, 2003. Always good to see you, you awkwardix. Carlton Epps, hello. Culturing Scuds, right on. They devoured the dead fish. Oh, yeah, they'll make short work of that. Radina Winsbury, hello. And who else have we got in here? Oh, you saw the video about me getting struck by lightning, did you? Well, Real Life D&D, that is a video to watch. I won't say anything now. I won't spoil the surprise, but it goes into some of like why I have so many medical issues as well. It is kind of tied into a lot of that. Barbara Jackson, always good to see you. Colin Colin Valid. How do you? I'm sorry, I'm butchering it, but hello, Colin. Anna Banana. Hello, Fishy Man. What's going on? Just Chris. Good to see you, buddy. And all right, I think I said. Oh, and Jabbo 153. Welcome. And David's Aquatics, welcome. All right, so let me pull these signs down that are like peeking through. They like don't look behind the curtain at the Wizard of Oz. And then we'll jump into talking about issues in Utah in the house. Right on. Then we'll crack this, and when I crack this, that means the party's starting. So let me grab those real quick. All right, so here's this one. If you can see it, I don't even think you guys can see that. That's like green and versus blue, like the parts that are green and blue. This camera is awful for that. Whatever. I'll take a picture, or you. Oh, maybe you can see it through the back. You can kind of see through the back what's going on. Also, this one. Oh, well, that's good. The hooks I hung it with, they just popped right off. So, well, what do you expect? It's Temu. But this is the one I'm stoked about, really, honestly. I mean, the fish are cool, but that's custom. That says Fishery. And I got the little bag. And it's not a money bag like it's supposed to be. He had it altered at the shop. I was like, could you just put a fish in there and not like a money bag like those cheesy signs? And they were like, yeah, sure. And they etched that with the CNC machine or whatever. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, so those will be probably in the background at some point. Yeah, it looks white with those blue edges, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's crack this open. Having a lighthearted hello, good evening. Oh, 186 element, what's going on? And soon, yes, we will be entering the portal. We will be becoming woke. Is that the cat throwing up? Come on, kitty. No, she's just never mind. She's just trying to like get something. She's trying to pull the cords out of those signs, and then her little toy fell back there, and she was ripping and everything. Anyways, guys, this is live. Just to remind you all, Jay Oliver's Guppies, what's going on? A member, a supporter for such a long time, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. If you need specialty guppies, if you need rare guppies, you know, Jay Oliver's Guppies, go check out his channel. Go check him out. Yes, ain't no party like a Dr. Pepper party, because the Pepper party don't stop. All right. And no, Dr. Pepper is not why I have no teeth, if anyone was about to make a joke. I have no teeth because of the lightning. All right. And money, because I can't afford teeth yet. But we will become what was the picture I sent you. Oh, yeah, Robert, thank you. You made me feel better, buddy. I mean, we're in this together, bud. All right, let's see here. You have a beer? Well, great. I mean, cheers, whatever you got. Hold it up if you got it. Cheers, y'all. Have a good night. Haven't had one in about 15 or 16 years now. But wait, what will that be? I should actually know my sobriety date. It is 16 years essentially. Yeah. As of this birthday. I've had like 3 drinks in that time, maybe 4 drinks in that time. Nights of drinking, I should say, in that time. So I'm going to say 16 years since I used to drink. But Dr. Pepper gets me through the night now. And that's just fine with me, but no shame on anybody else for whatever they do. You guys do it to it. Live life how you love it. So talking about world impacts on the hobby. Well, to do that, one of the best things I can do is really just pull up a map. It's a happy map that you may be familiar with, called the World Conflict Map, and it's set up by the Carnegie Institute, or it's Carnegie, but we could say Carnegie Mellon if you want to pronounce it like that. That's how everyone used to pronounce it, and then they're like, it's actually Carnegie. But we're gonna say Carnegie because I think it sounds better. All right, so we're gonna present that. We're gonna share the screen, y'all, and in a moment you'll be seeing all the problems in the world. All right, so y'all ready for this? Okay, so let's pop out of in this world conflict tracker. Basically, they kind of have either improved situation, of which, I mean, I guess they're counting Syria right now. I don't think that's correct. This definitely has a bias. Like, I'm not going to say Syria's improved right now. I'm going to say Syria's on unstable ground, and we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if Ba'athist regime may come back and like still be loyal to his family or something, or if the freedom fighters will take over, or if it'll become an Islamic State. But it doesn't really matter because that place does not impact the fish hobby a whole lot. As so far in, you guys, something like Yemen, which is red, which means it's a active war zone or an actively poor situation getting poorer, an actual bad situation getting worse. Places like Ethiopia, it's basically in a civil war too right now, and so there could be a conflict going on with Djibouti and Eritrea anytime. They've wanted that oh so precious coastline. If you look carefully, look, Ethiopia don't own the coastline, and they want that coastline because everyone between made up countries that the UN doesn't recognize, like Somaliland, which it used to be part of Somalia, which is this funky shape here, and Eritrea, which broke off in the 90s in Djibouti, I believe like 91 or 93, somewhere in there. And Ethiopia is sitting here landlocked, a lush and fertile, area where life probably began for a lot of hominid and human species, from Neanderthal to Homo erectus, Homo naledi, Homo heidelbergensis, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, it's right in that what we call the cradle of civilization. You could also call the Fertile Crescent and Egypt that as well. But basically, this whole swath here. Well, what's the matter if Yemen is having a war? Because who cares, right? They have fish, freshwater fish. Not really. They've got like one oasis over here with some little killifish and some live bears that are like little carplets or something. And then they've got a couple rivers, with a few. I think there's a trout and something else that lives there that's kind of odd. I mean, and some loaches. It's a freaking desert, guys. So is Saudi Arabia. So is Oman. So is the UAE. But it can impact our hobby. And you may be thinking, well, like how? I don't get it. Like who cares about Yemen? And if Yemen's mad at Israel, like what does this conflict have to do? Well, because world shipping used to go through from Europe, this happy little land here that's full of conflict and wars for the most part. And it used to have 50% more shipping going through this here little bottleneck known as the Suez Canal. And the Suez Canal also has the Gaza situation going on right along it, which is not the best situation. But the Houthis, who are a breakaway group of rebels that want to take over the government, but also they're basically just getting backed by Iran, and they send missiles. They get these cruise missiles or Scud missile kind of things, and that's a big deal. I mean, it's not just RPGs anymore. And guys, you know that this live stream always gets demonetized. But exactly, Doompy, that's why it matters, because of cargo ships. They fire rockets at private ships from time to time. And now 50% of the world's cargo has to go all the way around Africa instead of cutting through the Middle East, Horn of Africa, Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden area there, which sucks. So if we had stuff like, I don't know, goods that needed to make it from Asia to Europe, for instance, they would probably go through that canal, and then they would probably go through either to Italy or Croatia or France or Spain, or they would come through the Strait of Gibraltar, right where Spain touches Africa, and they'd come up around and they'd go to like Rotterdam or London or something like that, or Newcastle, I don't know. And then they would unload / pick up more cargo, like Fluval for Americans, things like that. But what's more realistic, honestly, other than them picking up many things from Europe and bringing them over to the US and Canada and South America, is really that from China, these European companies have their stuff built in over in these places like India and in China, like ADA tissue cultures, most tissue cultures, other than I believe Garnerley and Dennerley. I don't know about Tropica for sure, but most of the other ones are actually grown in India. I know ADAs are grown there, and a lot of like the Petco, PetSmart ones are. There's also some that come out of Eastern Europe, like Hungary, and some used to come out of Ukraine. So that changed when Ukraine went to war. They stopped making those there. And also, we had a friend of the channel who visited once when the Ukraine war started, who used to make pleco caves. So no, it's not a huge part of the industry, but yes, like some of the most beautiful angelfish and apistos used to come out of also Ukraine. So that's another thing that is Ukraine, Belarus, Russia having international problems. Is that a huge deal for the hobby? Not necessarily, but if you haven't noticed, the world has gone nuts price wise with inflation. Exactly, Barbara. Man, you got to it before I even looked over at the screen. You knew where I was headed. So yeah, we've got rockets being fired at private ships. We've had pirates in that region for a long time. So now it's basically either you got to be guarded by the U.S. fleet out there and take your chances through there. But I mean, the Houthis 2 weeks ago straight attacked the U.S. aircraft carrier. So I don't think they care about that either. I think they're basically saying, "Come get some," because they're pretty dug in Yemen apparently. But why does that matter again? It matters because it costs more money to ship things around the long way, and everything from rimless tanks to aqua soil to Oko stone, stuff like that coming to Europe is going to go up in cost if it's coming out of Asia. Asia is the production house of the world. It is the place where resources are basically coming out of Africa as well, and then they go to Asia as a whole, and then they're being made into knickknacks and things for the hobby. And so all your stuff is don't worry. Bluff Trail says, "Don't worry, dude. They're gonna get lots and lots of destruction. No part no ports, no water, no infrastructure. They'll be gone soon." Well, it's I mean, it's a terrible situation. Saudi Arabia has gone way overboard, and probably the U.S. will too. I don't know what you're supposed to do when people start doing that, but unfortunately, a lot of innocent people that don't have anything to do with anything in any war situation have to suffer the consequences. But today we're being selfish and we're looking at the consequences of this on the fish hobby. All right. So, as terrible as the humanitarian toll is, I don't want to get into the politics of who's right or wrong or any of that, other than my little bias as I talk about things like the Houthis being idiots for attacking the US fleet, and we're just going to like rain down. They touched our boats and they shouldn't touch our boats. America's real particular when people come and touch our boats. It's always a bad day for whoever touches American boats. Just going to say. They touched our boats with booms, and that's not what you want to do. So anyways, we've been already long at that, and the Ukraine war has been long going. So that's not going to like shake up any situations. But I want to point out that things like the price of wheat and grain and rye and things like that, it has gone up. There have been shortages, which also leads to instability in countries like Ethiopia, where a large section of the population is reliant on food aid from the international community. So, as crazy as that seems, it does impact the fish hobby. All of that in a roundabout way does. It causes inflation, it causes prices to go up. All your cheap food, your fish flake food, that base like filler they use to save money when they use like wheat paste or like whatever you see in the ingredients and it says like cereal grains or just grains or something like that. That's gonna be things like really poor grade milled flour and rye and barley and stuff like that. And that is all very impacted by Ukraine and the US. Really, those are the two biggest countries when it comes to all that stuff. And Ukraine's been having obviously a tough time since then. But all the meanwhile, I do want to point out that there's places like Poland and Lithuania and all the Baltic states up there on the Baltic, and some of the Eastern European former, USSR regions that are also on alert, and their energy prices and things have gone up as well. And so there's some tension there that could change at any time. I mean, Lithuania or possibly some of the Balkan areas, like, well, obviously there's the Crimea, which not in the Balkans, but Crimea in Ukraine could become contested, and any of the shipping spots right there on the Bosphorus, which is where Turkey and the Mediterranean open to the Black Sea, that could get a little messy too, due to Russians having involvement. Yes, Ukraine. Thank you, Mick M. And if you are overseas and watching, I mean, please feel free to chime in if you think, hey guys, like Alex is missing the ball on, like Ukraine. Yes, they're a big source of cereal for the rest of the world and grains for the rest of the world. So what does it mean that grains went to $8 a pound or whatever wholesale instead of 250 or whatever? Well, it means that even like your fish food and stuff goes up in cost, but maybe it means that some more holistic fish foods that are made out of insects will innovate and move into that space because it suddenly becomes more affordable. So it's kind of interesting to go back and look at the little changes in the world that actually impact the hobby or your daily life or the food you eat or whatever it may be. It's very fascinating. All right, so the other thing, obviously, Iran's a big wild card, and the US, Israel, Iran, there could be a big mess that goes on there at any moment. And Saudi Arabia and Yemen and Iran, for that matter, too, there could be a big mess breaking out in between all those states at any time, too. So we should be aware of that. Ethiopia and also Sudan, not South Sudan necessarily, but actual Sudan now, since they broke apart. Very dangerous situation, political instability, and possibly a genocide still going on. Also, something that this map doesn't show super well, and I'm going to just switch to a world map because I don't. Well, first, let's just go over real quick. The Koreas, that's not really going to impact us too much. The only thing that would kick off a problem for us huge in the hobby, and it would be a problem huge in the world, would be if China wants to go for Taiwan. If China goes for Taiwan, which they're saying 2028 is the official plan, if you ask the Communist Party. I don't know why they divulge that. I don't know if they're serious at all, but they literally come out and put it in there like it's their forecast for what they want to do as a country, and it's goofy. But yeah, yeah. Somebody says they're trying to restrict farming in Europe. Interesting. Yeah, Tropica is in Canada too. That's true. They did build a big Tropica grow tissue culture facility in Canada. And where is that? Is that Montreal, or I can't recall. I can't remember where they ended up putting it. I just remember that was happening, and they were having all sorts of problems because it should be easy. I mean, America and Canada, hey, they're right next to each other, but this is a big issue because the plants, they don't want to spread certain bacteria and stuff. And even though tissue cultures are supposedly sterile, they make them go into the US, and then like they have to be checked or something in some goofy way that it takes forever, and they get held up in customs, and they somehow figured out the problem. But for a while it was a big issue, and it was taking forever, and it was just like not feasible to do. But now we've got Tropica, and I have seen a difference. This last year I've seen Tropica plants in stores in Seattle, and that's a huge difference because we used to only have ADA, AFA, the big pet store brand, whatever they choose. And then there have been also companies like AquaZen, who is the owner now of Aquatic Arts, same owner, I should say. And they are also a tissue company, tissue culture company. And I believe they're based out of like LA. So they're making tissue cultures as well. And Aquatic Arts is now selling those. And I believe they make 28 species as of right now. So that's kind of cool considering they're an affiliate link. And that's some news of what's going on. But let's get to the next little section, because I know people want to talk about, okay, so you're talking about doom and gloom, but what's some cool stuff going on in the hobby in the next year? Well, it's a big it's I don't think it is in Vancouver. Well, there may be a wholesale place in Vancouver, but I don't think it's like the big one, because the big one is like all indoors in a warehouse, like huge warehouse. I just remember when they were getting permits to grow there, they had architects from the Netherlands who are like really good at building greenhouses and stuff like that for kind of temperate climates, cold climates, come in and working on it. In British Columbia, is there one in British Columbia too? I don't know, but yeah, maybe there is. Anyways, so the other thing I wanted to talk about is the opening up of South America. So while we have Africa always kind of shutting down, which is a bummer, like right on the Horn of Africa, or not the Horn, but on in Western Africa, I'll lean out of the way. In Western Africa, I need a handy dandy little pointer. In Western Africa, over there are some really cool small cichlids, lots of little not livebearers, little tetras and interesting fish that never see the daylight in the hobby. All sorts of very beautiful killifish, and all sorts of, elephant nose mormyrids, knifefish, stuff like that. But it's just too darn violent and unstable in the Horn of Africa over here. Or I keep saying the Horn. The Horn's over here. In West Africa, this area, basically everywhere my hand is, has some instability because of Islamic rebels or anti-government rebels fighting them, or there's like 2 or 3 factions going on there. And basically the beautiful fish that are there, Lawrence Kent comes around and talks to clubs, and he has a talk called Benin There, Done That. And he went fish collecting through West Sahara, which is an Islamic caliphate, and through Benin, which isn't much, it's not a whole lot more liberal or better as to outsiders. And they literally went fish collecting, and because he used to be there as a 20-year-old in the 80s, he was in Peace Corps and did also missionary work, I believe, for the Catholic Church out there. And so he felt comfortable enough to basically cross the border on his own accord and go exploring and to look in the rivers. And there were beautiful fish. He has some incredible pictures of all the fish there. So we are missing out as a hobby on all of the fish from the kind of deserty half of Western Africa, where it's not quite the Sahara, but on the edge of it. And also the other countries there, like Liberia, things like your lovely clown killifish, or the rocket killifish, as I think it should be named, are there. So many beautiful killifish are there. Literally hundreds and hundreds of just bright colored fish. A lot of them seasonal, annual kind of fish. And then Congo, West Africa, West Africa moving into the Congo and Central Africa. You've got the Central African Republic. You've got the Congo, aka the Democratic Republic of Congo, if you want to call it that. And you've got all the, if you keep continuing, then you hit Sudan, you hit places like Sudan that's now in a civil war using jets on their own people again. And possibly may end up in a war again with the South again, the South Sudan again. It's gonna be very tricky, unfortunately. Uh, let's see here. Yeah, Liberia has got a lot of nice killifish, Epiplates species for sure, and what are they called? Not gambu. Is it Gambusia? Yeah, Gambusia species. Is that the right one I'm thinking of? Anyways, question: how many countries have guppies? About 3. If you count how many countries actually have guppies because they're invasive now, about 35. I think last time I saw. Like Germany has guppies, Japan has guppies, the U.S. has guppies. They're everywhere, and jewel cichlids too. Yeah, actually. But the good news, Africa may still be difficult. We may still not be seeing all the incredible barbs, cyprinids, cool puffers, and cool little fish out of Africa. Although we are seeing Mabu puffers continuously coming out of Nigeria. The Nigerians are also trading with the Congolese. And the Congolese, Lake Tanganyika, and Lake Malawi all kind of have trades going. So those things are still happening, which is good. So let's hop over and, this year we're not going to dwell on Africa because the same problems have kind of been going on for a long time. And yes, we'd love to explore, the Volta River or, other parts of the Upper Congo and explore what's in there, but we can't. And the same goes for parts of Myanmar and the Thai border. Too dangerous. Indonesia and Papua New Guinea, all the little come on, all the little islands. There we go. All the little islands here in Indonesia, in between Papua New Guinea, so like Borneo and stuff. That's also not what I would call super Western friendly or super Western oriented. If anything, they've kind of oriented more towards the Chinese in recent years. They used to kind of be more oriented towards Indonesian and Australian and Western kind of vibes. Now they are fully allowing China in, like with door wide open, because China's building with them roads and stuff. And with that, there's some kind of awkward animosity. And then a lot of regions in Indonesia and Sundaland, if we come above Australia and we explore Papua New Guinea, that weird bird-shaped island or turkey-shaped island, right? Can I even point to it? Why can't I point to it right there, right there? It just the blue screen just screws with everything. Yes, Papua New Guinea does have good coffee, but yeah, it's rough. And yeah, and actually, Mama Duck, that's a cool thing that you're mentioning. I've been kayaking on the Zambezi River just below Victoria Falls on down, and there are some mighty big fish in there. I don't know if anyone knows what all fish are in there. No, they definitely don't know what's in there, and nor at the mouth, near the mouth of the Congo in Congo. Even near Kinshasa, they don't know what all's in there because it's 980 feet deep, or about 350 meters, 400 meters deep, something like that. And that is rough. Um, that is deep, and they're finding that there are fish specialized all the way down there in these rivers. So it may very well be that the Congo is the deepest river. Well, we know it's the deepest river, known river. And most people don't really guess that rivers are going to be that deep, though. And so it's kind of surprising. Like in India, also, there are rivers that get fairly deep up in the Himalayas in spots where there's kind of like a major drop off in topography. But are all these fish still caught in the wild? Many of them are. That's a great question, Doopy. So, like Mabu puffers, Fahaka puffers, those are all caught in the wild. The Congo green spotted puffer, uh, figure eights. I mean, most puffers are caught in the wild. They have not found a good way to breed them. Also, like they can breed Congo tetras, but there are an array. If you saw my latest video on tetras to breed in 2025, they have one of the most incredible selections of other tetras that we call Congo tetras that are every color of the rainbow, and we call them like collection points, or we'll say like CF or CT, like Congo Tetra dot, and then a location, or super red or orange flash, and we just like name it Allostropus, or however I always screw up the name of that genus, but anyways, and those fish are incredible. There's bright red ones, yellow ones, blue ones. I mean, metallic, like all sorts of glittering, incredible fish. Uh, and then, of course, like the tigerfish and ghost knife fish and mormyrids, elephant nose fish. Those have never been bred in captivity. All those are coming mostly from Nigeria as an export source, but they're coming out of the Congo, the Central African Republic, uh, Southern Sudan, Egypt, Sudan, even too. And that's a kind of a crazy trade network that isn't explored, isn't talked about, and we don't really know what happens, but the Nigerians end up with the fish. That's basically at the end of the day, the Nigerians are holding the bag and selling these fish to Americans and Europeans mostly. All right. So we mentioned that Myanmar's a mess, Indonesia's unstable in some island places, as are the Philippines in some places. Basically, there's pirates all over Southeast Asia in the waters, and politically, it ranges from stable to basically anarchy on some of the islands. And that's okay because some of the islands are so far out there that really it doesn't matter. But it's not okay for shipping because now we've got two spots shipping where we've got problems with pirates and instability and or missiles and things being thrown at them. So both those can affect slow goods. So things like aquariums, glass, food being put together, the auger that the tissue cultures are grown on, things like that surprisingly can be impacted. And yes, Nigeria does have a ton of fish also. That's a good point, Mick. They definitely, like, they do source from other places, but they probably source within Nigeria. Also, the country of Niger right next door has some fish as well. All of that area used to flood into what they called Great Lake Chad. And about 5 to 6,000 years ago, going back then another 5 to 8,000 years ago, that was the biggest lake in the world, most likely, if not the second biggest lake in the world by volume. And that was a lush area in the Sahara. And we have no idea. There could be oases out in the middle of the Sahara, anywhere out in the middle of the desert, that have fish left over from 5,000 years ago. That are hiding out in some, limestone cave system or sandstone cave system out in the middle of one of these aquifer / oasis type situations. It's not unheard of. There's Soda Lake cichlids up there, but it's nothing meaningful in the hobby as far as like you won't notice it in the main hobby. Hey, Keith, thank you so much, buddy. We got a big old gift tonight from Keith that 5 new memberships for 5 awesome folks in the chat. That was very kind of you guys. If you're a new member, go to the community tab. You can watch the podcast streams. I still add to those occasionally, but I used to do it like every couple of days I'd add a new one. So there's over 200 hidden episodes there for y'all to watch and find. Also, you can go to the community tab and there's extra posts there with links to odd things like games that I've found over the years while doing research, to modeling how a swarm of bees versus a school of fish moves. And you can change the variables, like I want these fish to hang out 1 inch closer to each other, and see how that would impact 1,000 fish swooping and swimming around. I want the fish to go left instead of right when predators show up. What does that do to the movement? So there's some kind of cool links that I've shared with just members over the years that you can go back through on the community posts that are now open to you if you become a member. And if you want to stay a member, then you got that. And also, whether you do that or not, you can come hang out and chat over in Discord. We've got the free version of Discord, and then we've got the $2.99 Discord, which really gives you access to just about everything except me 24/7. If you want access to me 24/7, essentially, you can pay $25 and you can actually message me about your fish. I will be on call for your fishy foibles and issues, your fishies, if you will. Please tell me the difference between a swamp guppy and a normal guppy. Well, that's not really the focus of today's hobby or today's stream, but I will mention this one. So it's a very fine line, but a swamp guppy is the Micropoecilia picta, and the formal guppy is Poecilia reticulata, or maybe an endler, or maybe a combo of Poecilia reticulata with the endler thing going on, like a hybrid of those two. Whereas, I mean, they could also hybridize with a lot of live bears, but usually that's kind of a sterile thing. Whereas an endler and a guppy can hybridize and still have lots of babies and still continue on down the path. I think a muppy doesn't work super well when you hybridize those further. But those are in the wild. And we do need to talk about South America, because there's some good news out of South America if you're a fish keeper. Cars and stuff, welcome. Thanks, buddy. Andrew Fishman, what's up? Welcome. Just YouTube. Hello. You hope that, this is an interesting statement here too. I'd love to know a half hour before you go live. Is there any way you can do that? Well, supposedly, Diane, when you have your notifications set to all for my channel, it will tell you. Tonight, I put up this stream 45 minutes before the live stream actually started. There was a event created for it that had the time that I came on, but most people probably didn't get the alert till I went live. I don't know why that is. It's not fair. They do it. They do it with prejudice, as if very hot trending channels, they'll alert everyone like before by an hour, then like right when it's starting or 10 minutes before it starts. And then sometimes they'll even say, like, do you want to go watch so and so, or it'll be on your screen anytime, or it'll even, you can set it up to text you. But if you join the Discord, that alerts you every time I post a video or go live, I believe. Now, generally speaking, I try to go live, barring health issues, and I do have a lot of them, unfortunately, but I try to go on Tuesdays and Fridays, sometime between 4:30 and 5, like p.m. LA time. I'm in Seattle, so I just say Los Angeles time zone, Pacific time zone, or 7:30 to 8 p.m. New York and Miami time zone. So that's usually when the lives will be. Just so you know, I pop up every once in a while and just it did not show up on mine, and I do have it set for all because you were the only one I want to listen to on fish stuff. Oh, well, thank you, Diane. I appreciate that. I wish I could tell you Yeah, and somebody, Mama Duck says, it tells you once in a dog's ear, which has been exactly once. Yeah. Too coolie for schoolie. Yeah, I can recap everything. It's pretty easy so far. Instability in the world, in shipping, and in people throwing rocks at giants. So, like the Houthis throwing rocks at U.S. aircraft carriers or throwing one uh, surface to ship missile caused a lot of instability and ships needing to go all the way around Africa right now. That combined with wars and Russia and a whole lot of sneaky deals behind the scenes are causing a lot of global inflation, along with US making some poor choices, trying to correct those choices. Who knows how it's going to shake out, if it's the best choice or not. I'm not getting into all that. But yes, clearly inflation is also an issue right now. And all of these world issues and events have a role. There is war all throughout Africa, and if there's not war, there's instability or Islamic controlled regions in the desert, or rebel fighters and or civil war in the Horn of Africa and in Central Africa. As far as Southeast Asia goes, it's a little quieter than it was a few years ago, but it is still violent. Myanmar, it appears that the rebels have taken control of the border regions of Shan and Wa and the northern borders along Yunnan province in China, and also up into like Laos Thai border area. And those areas are where we get tons of our rasboras, our danios, and loaches, and we're finding new species all the time there. Also, China has made big inroads in southeastern Asia and all of Africa, but down here in the Indonesian area that you see in kind of that copper or bronze color where my finger disappears, all the way to Papua New Guinea and Borneo, all a little bit sketchy for going to collect fish. And basically, we're not actively collecting fish from those places other than Indonesia. Indonesia and Thailand and Vietnam, Sri Lanka, all those places are growing tons of fish. Hong Kong used to, they're still selling a lot of fish. Taiwan selling a lot of fish. And if Taiwan gets attacked by China, not only would it be a big deal for the fish hobby and a huge deal for the shrimp hobby, the Caridina shrimp hobby, but it would be just chaos for international shipping and trade and a whole other thing. So we're not going to even go there. But yes, that could be a problem. That could be some tension. So moving over to America, where everything is happy, everything is awesome, right, guys? So basically, uh, in America, North and South, there are really interesting things going on in that you can go to Colombia now and you can travel all the way up to the Darien Gap. And 500,000 Venezuelans decided to do that this year. So Venezuela, very unstable. The rest of South America, pretty stable, oddly enough. There's corruption and ongoing problems that have always been ongoing problems in South America. But I mean, for the most part, Bolivia, Peru, Colombia, Suriname, Guyana, French Guiana, and Brazil all have their very nice fish coming out of their countries. Brazil a year ago opened up their fish hatcheries. Now, when I say hatcheries, I mean legally allowing exports. And fish like the Rio Jingu fish that come out, like the L046s. Well, those are being bred in such large numbers out of Asia now, Indonesia, and more specifically, mainland China and Hong Kong, that they're only $25 wholesale. And they used to be like $100 a pop. And so it's kind of interesting that how that's going. What we're seeing now, though, is, when new species are discovered, that's what everyone wants to get to the market. So it's interesting when we hear like all these new species being discovered in China or in South America, or Turkey for that matter. I mean, they found a bunch of loaches like dojo loaches. They found like 12 of them this year, new species that would do great in the hobby. Kind of interesting. And the South America, Colombia was owned or controlled. The north and the west of the country of Colombia has been controlled by a group called the FARC and its various allies, and just the wilderness, let's be honest, for a long time. And it's basically a militia group that fought the government and and trafficked in powdered goods, if you know what I mean. So they also had some issues in Panama, and there are some incredible fish right there where the continents meet. I mean, there's everything from, big convict, or I should say, mid-sized convict cichlids to the big, like, Guatemalan and all the way over to like Haiti. There's big cichlids and mean cichlids. There's a lot of mean cichlids in Central America, southern Mexico, and Belize, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Guatemala. Mid-size and large, mean but beautiful. I guess cichlids, and there's a few other fish there too. There's live bears and stuff like that. Lots of beautiful live bears there. And really, I mean, the deep interior of the Amazon, Peru has been really explored now to a level that it never was in the past. Like the Amazon in Peru, all the way in here, like all the way to the Andes Mountains now. We're finding things like the Sanipa red pencilfish or the super red pencilfish. It's very, very interesting how that is working. The problem, though, that we've been facing for years and years is, of course, the damming of rivers. And you can't really blame the countries, in my opinion, for wanting to dam rivers. They want electrical light. They want things like nice, running water and electricity out in their homes. But to get that, you either got to have like coal power or diesel power generators or something like that, or solar power or wind power or hydroelectric power. And when your country is literally soaked in water, a dam becomes a fairly appealing thing. And so a lot of the Amazon is facing being dammed. And, the Montebello Dam and that whole Rio Xingu has been at the heat of a lot of controversy for a long time. It will kill a lot of fish as these dams get put in. Also, in China, Bhutan, Nepal, Tibet, and all the way down through into Myanmar, and then right onto the border of it'll impact Cambodia and Vietnam. Here, let's go to. We need to go to. I need to show you guys this. This is one important world political thing that really will make a huge difference in the fish world. And it is the damming of the upper Mekong River and holding back the silt and other things that are part of that natural ecosystem. And the Chinese have plans for something like 78 dams on the rivers in southeast China, Tibet, and or Nepal. And then all the other countries, they basically have plans to purchase the rights to hydroelectric shares. Like they'll buy the rights to build the dam, they'll control the dam, have their military guarding the dam, and in return they'll sell power cheaply, supposedly, to the people in the country. Now, America hates this. The West doesn't like seeing this. and thinks it's kind of all a ploy and kind of one of those like evil communist plots, essentially. And it very well may be. But you could also be thinking, well, that's good for China. The rest of the world's neglected them. And I don't think fish bladders do much good for small fish. Joey, I agree. Fish ladders they're limited. And Barbara, yeah, they're not a huge um, they're not a huge relief to the stresses on the river. The real stresses on the river, when we look over here, the real problem is that you got your rivers, and I mean, look at all these rivers. Look at all those blue lines, you guys. Well, some are roads, but let's look. Let's zoom in here and let me show you the rivers. So you got a river here, and right here we can see there's rivers that you wouldn't even recognize. There's rivers that everyone probably knows the name of, but even these rivers in here, I mean, they're big, and a lot of them go kind of all to one. They kind of all head to one place, and they all go up into the northern part. You know what? Can we find a better view here? Let's go to satellite view, perhaps. Hold on, guys. Let's do. Wait, is this usually lets me select? Do I have to do this? No. This? No. Show imagery? No. Why, guys? I need help. Apparently. I don't even. Okay, it's on the. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Layers. Okay. Terrain. Here we go. All right. So, I mean, look at how hilly this is. This is insanity. Like in Vietnam, you can see these are hills that go up like hundreds of feet. Like in the Midwest, y'all have no idea. I mean, we have no idea in Washington compared to this. But I mean, this river compared to this river on this side of these mountains could be totally different fish. I mean, could be completely different. And you see here all these what look like lakes. Most of them are rivers that have been dammed and that are flooding out these whole valleys. And it changes so vastly when fish are used to living in flooded out rainforest or flooded out rice fields and kind of like rice paddy land. The DA River, the Da River, the river, it's the river. uh you know then life in a lake is so different for fish that evolved a whole different way. And I mean, us in the West probably have never heard of most of these places, but some of these places are like huge lakes, absolutely huge. And when we talk about like some of the rivers that impact things massively. You've got like right here. Come on. So I want to just show you guys the Mekong River. So this is the river in question, and it comes out right here near Ho Chi Minh City and Canto, and then Phon Nam or Pon. I don't know how you're supposed to actually say that. Nom Pen. I don't know. I don't know the right way these days. I'm sorry, Vietnam. Anyways, I know how Americans said it during the Vietnam War, and I'm sure that's not right either. But then the river goes up, and if we zoom out, you can see it goes up from Cambodia. All those tributaries go into Vietnam, all through southern Vietnam. Then the river goes up here into Laos and over kind of into the borderlands of Thailand. And if you're going to watch the topography, you'll see that those rivers drain into a big valley, basically, of Cambodia and Thailand that's super fertile here, and jungly as well. But all these rivers, also like the river where is it the Mekong that Bangkok is on? I can't remember. Let me double check what the name of this river is. Chao Phraya. Sorry, guys. I guess I got that wrong. The Chao Phraya River. Uh, so I got that name wrong. Mekong is one of these rivers in here. I don't know which one. But anyways, so then it goes up through here. Then it literally gets confusing where it goes. It goes up through Vietnam, through Laos. Then it goes into China. The problem is all of these like foothills of the Himalayas, they drain down into Myanmar and then into the rebel held areas that are right here and in through Yunnan province, which is one of the most incredible places on earth. I mean, just like it's a absolutely stunning looking place. I mean, just pick a spot in Yunnan province and there's like water and limestone caves and these like mountainous hills that are just incredible. And also, you could pick some of these cities that no one outside of China seems to really know. And a lot of them have 5 million people, and we've never heard of them. But basically, these big rivers, they go up this way. Then we've also got this ginormous river, which the Brahmaputra river comes, but it goes right through Bangladesh. Most of Bangladesh is on a floodplain, a river, and a lot of people live on boats for that reason. But also right through the middle of Myanmar, there's another river. I mean, this whole area gets soaked by monsoons, but right in this little hooked area, the mountains all swirl together at the tip of Myanmar, the mountainous areas, and up here in what is this kind of um, Arunachal Pradesh. That's India technically, but is it China? Is it India? Is it part of Assam? Or is it part of China? It's kind of this disputed borderland. And everything all the way over to Nepal and Tibet over here, the rivers flow that far from glaciers and rains and things that fall. And China is basically controlling all of this. And so if they put dams all the way up here, it means that silt never makes it down all through this whole massive region of Asia. So whole countries miss out on the nutrients in the river. So yeah, it's kind of wild. Mekong is in Vietnam. Chao Phraya was where they caught the huge freshwater stingray. Yeah, totally. Um, I love dwarf Yunnan hovering loaches. Yeah, me too. They're one of my favorites. Actually, a lot of the fish from that region are some of my favorites. CPDs. I mean, Myanmar in particular has, formerly Burma, has incredible fish. I mean, the danios and stuff there are pretty wild. Pretty cool. All right. So again, that's something to watch and something to protest. Others are protesting it. I mean, they're talking about having like basically canals that allow silt and things to divert from floodplains. They're talking about allowing the dams to release more volume and to be built differently with some new features, but I don't know. We'll see if it happens. Same with the dam that Ethiopia, well, they already control the Nile somewhat, but there's dams talking about they're talking about building more dams in both Sudan or Ethiopia also, which could have problems for everyone like Egypt and the rest of Sudan or Ethiopia or southern Sudan or Djibouti or Eritrea, all those places that get water from that basin. But back to South America, Brazil has opened up a lot more fisheries, and hopefully they will continue to, because I mean they're basically allowing everything to get logged, especially under the last government. It's a little better under the current president, but I mean, we found out that there was that $1 billion carbon credit scheme that went on under the Maduro government, and it's just or Bolsonaro, sorry guys, just a big old mess. And you know, Bolivia not always the most stable, Ecuador not always the most stable, but they are. I wouldn't say they're like at war or anything. They're you could still travel through them. You might want to be cautious, but and Peru has always had parts like that too. They've always had rebels like the Shining Path and other groups that have fought back, kind of indigenous peoples movements that have fought back against kind of a colonialist government that tends to be European heritage versus the Native American or Amerindian, Amazonian tribal groups, or former Incan tribal groups. But that doesn't matter too much for what we're talking about right now, which is the export of fish. Those tribal group folks are the ones who know where to go to find interesting fish deep, deep days into the Amazon. And the Amazon, although it looks like it's, you know, just a little spot on the map chilling here, it's still a massive mystery, especially the deep Amazon. There's not really a good way to get to the Colombian Amazon, the Ecuadorian, or sorry, the Peruvian Amazon, Bolivian Amazon. And then you get, you know, to these other areas that are not that well explored either, like in parts of Paraguay or very most upper part of Argentina or Uruguay. Also, you know, you see a lot of fish coming out of Guyana and Suriname, as well as like Venezuela is home to a ton of fish, the Orinoco Basin, which is incredible. My good buddy Ivan Mikolji has documented hundreds of fish species there in his book, The Orinoco River, the photo journal. But again, we don't really see a lot from here. And Guyana just opened up for the first time in forever, not forever, in 11 years. They just opened up Georgetown again to allowing exports. French Guiana also has had a limited amount of exports. Suriname, I think they're coming out through Georgetown now, is the plan. But that'll be interesting. That's brand new. Things like the Equus barred pencilfish and things like the you know, some of the very beautiful earth eaters that we haven't seen from this kind of really cool Guianan shield and this really interesting area that is, I mean, really remote. There are a few roads that cut through over in here, but it is very, very remote, these regions. Basically, you have a boat to get there, and that's it. Like this region here is just about some of the most remote in the world. The border of Venezuela here and the border of Colombia and Brazil. This whole area might as well not. I mean, they don't even know where the border ends, basically. So there are regions too where people, outsiders, are not supposed to go, and some of them are huge, like this area here, the Vale do Havari, Havari. These are all these native reservations for people who are uncontacted and or for wilderness conservation. And while loggers and things are actually going in, and there have been a lot of massacres, a lot of really bad things that have gone on, there are still massive parts of Peru, and like right down in here and over here in Brazil that are totally, and Bolivia up in here as well, that are totally out of, you know, they're not in the loop of any sort of politics. They don't have roads. It's, if you get in, it's by a bush plane or a boat. And same with like the Cali area, everything from Cali to the coast. There was a few, you know, Andean villages, But really, Cali and Bogota were the only spots that, well, Cali, Bogota, and Medellin, that triangle, a lot's going on. But then there's the Darien Gap, which this area is just a massive region where there's no year-round road to get through. You have to walk. Look, the highway ends right here. And people do make that trip, but unfortunately, cartels have taken over the route. And so collecting fish is not a great idea there. But same with down in this part, like this very western part of, and even up here too, of Colombia is very unexplored. And this southern part of Colombia, a lot of it is very unexplored. So really, I mean, Colombia is an interesting place in that the Pacific coast, it kind of, this mountain range and this valley here are what have really been explored and where everyone lives. And then it's kind of like there's not much out on these plains. I mean, you can see there's not a single freaking city out here. And so there's a lot of wild wilderness. That's a redundant statement, Alex. There's a lot of areas out there that we could still yet to explore, and I think there'll be a lot of really great new fish and things coming into the hobby still from all of this. Let's see here, guys. Sorry, I've neglected my chat. Venezuela is threatening to invade Guyana for their oil. Yes, so Guyana got some oil rights off the coast. I don't know. You guys can't see my mouse, unfortunately. Dang it. Off the coast of Guyana. And so Venezuela remapped the country and basically took over a third of Guyana and said, this is ours now. We're starting it on paper, but if anybody wants to fight about it, it's ours. And basically are moving people towards that region. A lot of people I've talked to in Venezuela are planning on leaving right now. It's a crazy exodus. The last one out better turn off the lights. And someone's going to fight over the scraps, and I'm sure that won't be a pretty picture. But I don't know if they have the money to even go to war over that. Like, I don't think the U.S. will stand for Venezuela taking over those oil rights that were discovered out at sea. And I don't think Venezuela has a navy that can contest anything the U.S. would do out there. But yes, for those mentioning LiDAR over the jungle, pretty interesting what they're discovering. Massive civilizations used to be all throughout the Amazon. Aquaculture, where they used irrigation canals and they used pot ash left over from campfires and actual composting, like worm bins, to work nitrogen back into the soil with plants that they specifically selected for that. Pretty wild. Johnny Best says, at Alex, spot dosing hair algae on bacopa plants with the turkey baster in a 10-gallon. Blue ball stratum, Phoenix rasbora, blue neon rasboras. I think I overdid it. 20 minutes later, fish died. Yeah, I think a turkey baster is way too much of the wait. What did you say again? Wait, what did you use? Oh, flu ball stratum. Spot dosing. So what were you dosing though? Were you dosing hydrogen peroxide? Because that would definitely be too much hydrogen peroxide in a turkey baster in a 10-gallon. You usually use a pipette or a tiny syringe, like a diabetic syringe, to treat that kind of thing. Like you go right up to the plant and kind of spray it on it or inject the actual plant, and then it will die. Or the algae, the clump of algae. It will turn to water within 30 seconds or so, but in that time it takes to mix, it can burn the fish pretty bad if you have like a whole turkey baster of hydrogen peroxide, especially if you're using stuff stronger than like, the 3% from the store or whatever. Yeah, unfortunately, probably just too high of a concentration. I'm sorry to hear about that. The best thing to do is to take the hardscape out if you can and drop the water level. And then if you can, put something over the water with the fish down low in it, like saran wrap if you can. And then you can literally get a spray bottle with her hydrogen peroxide and spray the sides of the tank, and then get a washcloth and work that. That will break down within a minute or two in the air and with water mixed on it into water again, hydrogen, oxygen, and its constituent gases and stuff. Flourish XL also could work. But yeah, hydrogen peroxide, it also just depends on the concentration you use in the first place. Really, it's ideally used either in very tiny amounts in a syringe with like an actual needle tip so that it controls the flow of it quite a bit, or with a pipette that has a very tiny tip and you can kind of squeeze a little bit, let it sit on one area. It's a bit denser, and so hopefully it sits kind of in the area you put it in. And yeah, Bacopa will often melt too, though. Unfortunately, that's true. But yeah, you could try Flourish XL. That really just turns into the Aquarium Co-op guy has a video using hydrogen peroxide. Yeah, well, you can use it. You can also use it in a spray bottle, spray down like rocks and logs and stuff. It will turn your algae, like your black beard algae, it'll turn it like an orangey, reddish yellow color. And then you put it in the water and it looks like all gummy, like it looks like it rusted kind of, or you bleached a black shirt kind of thing. And then the fish will eat it from there. But you need to keep doing water changes because there's all that organic matter that's now dead and flaking off. So it's actually better to take out sticks, logs, caves, things like that, rocks that are big enough to take out and then put back. Take those out, spray them in the tub, in a bathtub or a sink with hydrogen peroxide in a spray bottle, then wash them down, let them air dry and just evaporate dry, then put them back in the tank, and then treat either systemically, the slow, long, like blackout way, the water change way, and spot treating, spot removing. I know it's a pain in the butt. Or like people are saying, use Flourish XL. You can use that. It's an algicide. It turns into glutaraldehyde once water combines with it. When it's sold, it's not glutaraldehyde, which is a carcinogenic, plant killing and algae killing compound. In trace amounts, it's not super carcinogenic, but it kills all sorts of algae. In higher amounts, it's very carcinogenic and it kills every plant. So the poison is always in the dose, poison is always due to dosing, unfortunately. And that's a hard one to sometimes like advise on for individual cases. Asia Llewellyn, good to see you, my friend. I have CO2 booster in a spray bottle and eyedropper for spot treatment. Also have used peroxide same way. Very rarely have I used it though, too worried. Yeah, I mean, I understand the fear. I get it too. I always use things very sparingly when I first use them, even if I know they're supposedly safe and supposedly trusted and I've seen it used. I just don't like putting new chemicals in my tank. Recently, I've documented it, but apparently ICX will completely melt certain like Valsinaria plants and certain crypt plants. I had it just totally destroy. And I think I looked in the ingredients, there's formaldehyde. And that is known to melt plants. I don't know what concentration it's in. That's like part of their secret recipe. But at some point, I should probably do a video because I have a tank right now that's literally, if I try to pick up the plant, it literally just turns into 1,000 little pieces of blended smoothie looking spinach floating around. It just melts as soon as you touch it. It's awful. I need to clean it up because the tank's gonna crash if I don't. Like tonight, I need to. It just recently happened. I treated it a week ago, and I probably put a bit overkill because I just did eyeball it with the cap that it came with. But it was one of the big bottles that was on sale at Aquarium Co-op, actually their store, when I went and visited it. And I usually just measure it with a cap I have in the fish room, or I have a shot glass with the measuring amounts, so I know it's 5 milliliters per 10 gallons or whatever. But I think I probably put double or maybe even triple that much of the stuff that has apparently it has formaldehyde, formalin in it, and then it's also got a little methylene blue, malachite, and Victoria green to kill ick. It works great at killing ick, but it melted all the plants. So I'll probably do an episode on that. Barbara Jackson says, have any new species of Aphistos been found since Brazil opened up again? Well, so Brazil is still open to exploration and scientific surveys and things like that. It's just wholesale selling of fish by like wholesale companies was not being allowed as a commodity. People taking them home because they visited Brazil on vacation. There's like limited quantities you can bring home, and I think you can. I don't know if you need to get a permit or how that works exactly in every territory or part of Brazil. But I know for a fact, I know people who personally brought things back from South America just by putting it in their carry-on luggage or in their checked luggage. Either way, sometimes checked luggage it gets killed, but both plants and fish I've seen come back. Whether or not that's supposed to be happening, I don't know the legal standing on that, but I know that it happens, and so people have been still exploring. Uh, Joey Lowell says, I have all live plants in 4 tanks, and I have used salt, and I have no algae of any kind. Well, good for you, man. That's awesome. Some people get a good balance. Some people have easier to work with tap water, no nitrates, no phosphates. Other people have like super high phosphates. They actually have nitrates in their water, and it's like hard as a rock, and it's just like rough for them to deal with for certain things like delicate plants. All right, you guys. Yeah, I have Crypt axelrodi and Crypt undulata. Those are the 2 that melted like crazy when I treated with ICX. And the Val all broke off and melted too. We'll see if it grows back, but I'm curious. Anyways, you guys, I just wanted to do this overview. I didn't want to do an overly dramatic episode this year or show any issues, show any actual pictures of conflict and stuff. And really, we kind of covered it more in the economic outlook for the year. We kind of touched on a lot of these troubled spots. But I hope that for those of you news geeks and political science slash I don't know, whatever you want to call it, psychology, sociology lovers out there who are also fish keepers and fish hobbyists and economists moonlighting at night, I suppose. I hope that you guys got a kick out of this episode this year. I appreciate all of you. As always, if I get a moment to sneak away to do another live stream in the mornings or something, I'll do my best to do that. I got my birthday coming up on Sunday, and my wife and I have plans. Woo! I can't really do too much. Like I can't go out, partying. 1, I don't really drink or anything. But 2, I've also got my leg in essentially it's a soft, what they call a soft form cast that you guys can't see it, but it's a soft form cast that kind of keeps my foot supported. And they cut off every week and redo. But anyways, I'm a little gimpy if you didn't know. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. I don't know if that's a slur or a bad word. I don't really care. I'm sure they're already going to demonetize this episode. Again, thank you so much for the gifted memberships earlier. Man, I'm forgetting your exact screen name, buddy. it was Keith something 746N. Those are some random numbers. And Johnny Best, buddy, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. Guys, you rock. Johnny, you always do that. You literally are the best, Johnny Best. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all you coming out here. And heck, maybe I'll stream for a little bit at some point on my birthday just to say it's my birthday and it's not yours. So I get to go buy a fish. I have saved a gift certificate my wife bought me for Christmas to a fish store. And I think maybe tomorrow I'll make her go to the fish store with me and we'll buy. What? Yeah, she just yelled, "I'm busy." And we can maybe get some fish. I have to start in on the next few aquascapes now that we got the one aquascape rolling and doing well. Um, I want to get the carpeting plant going a little bit better. Next live stream will probably be on the other mode where I walk around and look at the plants and we talk about tanks. And you can see all my melted plants in my other tank that look like crap. And then what CO2 running for a month in my big tank in a jungle style tank, and also what CO2 in a more high-tech setup, what that results in, the plants are looking bonkers. Pretty wild. Yeah, someone said, "What's too busy to go to the fish store?" I know, right? Wives. I know a lot of you are wives in here, and you're probably the one dragging your husbands to the fish store, or your wives, or whatever. But yeah, I sympathize. I could spend forever looking at fish and fish-related accessories. I sell fish and fish-related accessories. All right, you guys. I hope you keep on rocking in the free world. Keep on splashing in your tanks, and don't forget to just put your sleeves down. Just put on your favorite hoodie that you wear every day, and just dip your arms in your tanks while you work. Just get them all wet and soggy. Just like wet socks. It's a good feeling. You'll enjoy it. Just try it once. Also, I wanted to also. Bob is still there. He's doing good. Bob is he's shy now ever since the heat temperature trauma when everyone in the tank died. Go figure. It scared him. But he's doing good. He's coming around. Thank you for asking. Bob is a good boy. He'll be on the next episode, hopefully. All right. Well, I am, as I said, gonna get out of here. And there was one other thing that I was gonna try to mention, and now I forget what it was. I don't know. Totally left my brain. Anyways, guys, thank you for being awesome. Thank you for being you. I'm hoping that we're getting some pretty good articles and stuff on Discord. And actually, Andrew, Fish Hulk, I should say, we've got some really good articles being posted. We got a new mod on there. So whether you're in the free section or whether you're in the kind of general section, we're doing stuff over there. And I think I might be hosting more of the streams that are like this kind. I want to figure out how to do that in there so that I can say like bad words like poopy and stuff like that, or so I can say words like pygmy without getting demonetized for being hate speech. Can't say dwarf cichlids. I can't say dwarf shrimp. There, that ensured that my stream will be demonetized. Anyways, you guys, I will see you around. Oh, I remembered. My brain works. It does. I promise. I've been working for the last 3 days. Well, I've also been working on the episode 2 of Fish to Breed in 2025, basically new species, interesting species that came out in the last couple years that I think are going to make the money. But we have Fat Bob. That's like from Fight Club, right? Yeah, I can be Meatloaf. Anyways, so like a bat out of hell. the episode I'm working on for tomorrow, hopefully, it's like over 20 minutes long right now. I'm gonna still edit it. It'll probably get it down to like 18 minutes, I'm hoping. But it's on how color works in fish. So how pigmentation works in fish, starting with the fascinating story of parasites that turn fish into gold, like literally transform their scales into a gold colored pigment, and it's literally the same exact color as gold when read by a light meter. It is like 500 to 520 nanometers of light, that beautiful reddish, yellowy amber color that reflects off gold. That is literally the color this parasite turns fish. And you've probably seen my episode, if you watched long time, on how there is the gold tetra slash silver tetra slash rod weyii and Armstrong eye that were thought to be different fish. And it turns out one is just impacted by the parasite. Well, recently I got another video of some beautiful golden 3-line pencil fish that have the same exact issue with this parasite. And so I figured I'd go into it as quickly as I could this time, tell that story and the story of how structurally pigment works in fish. Did you know that fish only have black, red, yellow, and white as colors? Any other color that you're seeing in a fish, purple, orange, blue, green, brown, those are all figments of your imagination, tricks of light, and or interference patterns going on. There is only red, yellow, black, or melanin, leucistic or leukocytes. Man, that's hard to say. Leukocytes for yellow, iridophores for the crystalline kind that reflect that beautiful fish scale silver and iridescent. And then there is the background color in fish muscle tissue, which happens to usually be white, unless you're a salmon, but your muscle's still white on the outside, the lean muscle. So yes, it's like a medicine wheel. You're totally right. It is, and it's not like RGB, and it's not like CMYK. It's not additive or deductive color theory, which is interesting. That nature came up with a third color theory. Yet we can see the most vivid blues and purples in fish, but it's all an optical illusion. So if you want to learn about that, hopefully tomorrow morning that will be up and ready, finished and edited. But I got to go do that for the rest of the evening now. So have a good one, and thank you so much for being a part of this community, you guys. Seriously, you rock. I appreciate all the support, and I'm going to get out of here. It's been an hour and a half. Go home, kids. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So get out of here. Scram.